Thank you everyone for joining this webinar. So the today's topic would be how to invest your year-end bonus. So as the year comes to the end, so bonus rolling, right? So many of us start thinking about how to use this extra income wisely. One of the smartest options is loan repayment. In today's session, I will guide you on how to reduce your outstanding debt strategically and make the most of your bonus. Loan can be a significant financial burden, especially with the added weight of interest. Using your year-end bonus to prepay loans can help you save interest cost, free up your cash flow, and even you'll increase your credit score. But how would you decide which loan to pay off first? I think let's break it down right now. First, always target the loan with the highest interest rates. For most people, this means starting with credit card debt. Credit cards often carry a high interest rate, like around 30%, making them the costliest debt to keep. Clearing this first provides the maximum financial relief. Then we can move to the personal loans. These tends to have a relatively high interest rate, usually between 10% and 20%. Paying them off early can result in substantial savings. After personal loan, you can consider your vehicle loans. These loans typically have lower interest, but prepaying them can still reduce your overall interest burden. Finally, there is a home loan. Home loan often have some low interest with the tax benefits. So it's usually better to defer the prepaying them. Especially if you can invest your money elsewhere for high return. Now is an important consideration. If the returns from investment such as stock market are consistently higher return than your interest rate, it might make sense to interest your bonus on them than paying your loan. Let's take some example. If your home loan has an interest rate of 7% and you are expecting around 10 to 12% return from your investment, you could go ahead with your investment for that money of your bonus, right? Than repaying your debt. But let's not forget that psychologically, the money has some kind of effect on you. For some, the peace of mind that comes from being debt-free outweighs any potential financial gain from investing. It's right. If clearing a loan helps you sleep better at night, it's worth considering, even if it's not the optimal financial move. So I would like to sum up that. So use your bonus to prepay loan in this order, like credit card, then personal loan, then vehicle loan, and lastly home loan. But don't forget to weigh that potential return from investing and the emotional benefits. Uh, then let's move on to the next thing is build or strengthen your emergency fund. So life is unpredictable and unforeseen events like medical emergency, job loss, or a sudden request, which can disturb your financial stability. An emergency fund acts as a safety net, helping you navigate these challenges without dipping into a long-term savings or a high interest debt. So how much you could aim for? Ideally, you want to save enough to cover at least 6 months worth of essential expenses. This could include housing, food, insurance premiums, and any other kind of unavoidable costs which you might incur. So your year-end bonus is perfect opportunity to either start building your emergency fund or top it up. If it's not yet sufficient, take a moment to calculate your monthly expenses. Just multiply that by 6. If your current funds fall short, allocate a portion or even all of your bonus to close that gap because that's more important. Now let's talk where to park this money. This is an important thing to be considered. The key is liquidity. Uh, your emergency fund should be easily accessible. When you need to need this money at any kind of emergency, it should not be kind of invested in any kind of like a long-term funds or so. So FT is a popular option, especially those who prefer stability and guaranteed return. Choose a FT with short tenure because that's important. Don't go for something like a long tenure or so. Um, and one that allows premature withdrawals. That's a key thing while you are considering FD, right? Then you can move for some arbitrage funds and also some debt funds. These are mutual funds that invest in low risk instruments like government bonds and corporate bonds. They offer slightly better return than saving. Also, important thing is that most of them allow you to withdraw your money in 24 to 48 hours. So the last thing would be the saving account. They provide a high liquidity, but the thing is that usually the returns would be minimal. Use this option only for the portion of the fund for instant access. That's the thing. So yeah, the few tips you need to consider would be avoid investing your emergency fund in a risky assets like I mentioned earlier, stock or equity mutual fund, as their value can fluctuate significantly. Replenish your fund whenever you use it. Think it as a buffer that should always remain intact. Review your fund periodically to ensure it still meet your needs, especially as your income and expenses change over time. So, also like to conclude this second point again. So, build or strengthen your emergency fund is one of the important and smartest thing to do with your year-end bonus. It provides financial kind of stability, peace of mind, and a solid foundation to handle life's uncertainties. So, focus on maintaining at least 6 months worth of expenses, keeping the money in a highly liquid instrument like arbitrage or debt fund, or so, even saving to some extent. So, So when you look at the graph, the retail credit has grown up a way lot, which says that people use more credit, but using personal credit would not be a viable option. So it's important to know for what you are taking your credit. So in general, personal credit is mostly taken for unplanned purpose. So keep that in mind while utilizing your kind of debt. So the next thing would be the paying or renewing your insurance premiums. This is an often overlooked but critical step in securing a financial future or protecting your family. Insurance, whether it's like life, health, or other essential policies, provide a safety net against unexpected financial burdens. Uh, by with your year-end bonus, pay or renew these premiums because it ensures that your family is protected without having a dip into your regular income or savings. So, for example, life insurance safeguards your loved ones in case of untimely event. While taking health insurance, cover medical expenses that can quickly become overwhelming. Other essential policies like vehicle or home insurance also play a vital role, kind of managing the risks. So what you can do, first is renew your existing policy. Start by checking the renewal dates for your current your insurance policies. Paying them in advance with your bonus prevents any lapses in coverage and avoids late fees. Upgrade your coverage. If your existing coverage feels insufficient, say your health insurance doesn't cover some critical illness or your life insurance is an adequate much, consider upgrading to a better policy or add a rider. The next thing would be top-up policies, like some policies like health insurance allows you to even enhance your coverage through top-ups. Use your bonus to strengthen these plans for added protection. Uh, yes. So the next thing could be lump sum kind of stuff. See, sorry. Lump sum investment allows you to put a significant amount of money to work immediately, right? This can help you to take advantage of market opportunities, accelerate wealth creation, and achieve your financial goals faster. The key thing to choose the right investment option based on the risk appetite, time horizon, and financial goal. So here are a few options you can consider. The first would be the mutual fund. For a long-term goal, equity mutual fund are a great opportunity. If you can tolerate market fluctuation, uh, equity mutual fund is a good thing. For lower risk preference people, debt mutual fund offers stability and with a moderate return. So if you have some experience with stock market, consider investing in individual stocks or companies with strong fundamentals. So for kind of risk-averse investors, I think FTs could provide a guaranteed return, but it's good to avoid at the most. But you can consider other investment opportunities like bonds, gold, even real estate. So exploring to a multi-asset strategy would be a great move. Things you need to keep in your mind before doing your investment would be like access to risk appetite. Higher returns often come with higher risk. Ensure your choice align with your comfort level. Think long term. Investments like mutual funds and stocks perform better when time is given them to grow. Then diversify. It's very much important. Don't put all your bonus in one option. Spread it across different instruments to reduce the risk. It's very much important. So allocate it for newer goals and fast track existing ones. Whether you're planning for something big or aiming to get ahead of a current financial target, your bonus can give you the momentum that is required. So first, let's discuss newer goals. This could be a major milestone like buying a home, starting a business, or planning a significant kind of wedding or a dream vacation, right? So I would say some kind of way how we can approach this. So like identify your goal. Be clear about what you want to achieve and how much it will cost. Then break it down. Divide the total amount into achievable financial targets. For example, if you're planning to buy a house, let's say for kind of simplicity, like 3 years, calculate how much you need to save annually or monthly. It's very much important. Set up a dedicated fund. Allocate a bonus to a saving or a investment account specifically for that goal. Keep a separate account. That would be a great way to do so. Uh, then now let's talk about fast tracking your ongoing goals. Like boosting savings for your retirement or your children's education. As discussed earlier, you are paying off debt. So save great your retirement stuff like consider adding your retirement corpus through instruments like PPF, NPS, or some mutual funds route also can be a good way to go. Then consider your children's education, then your debt reduction also, because pay down any existing loan to free up your uh, resources for other goals. So fast tracking these goals reduces the financial stress in your future. So keep on track to achieve them sooner. So here you can see some interesting data that people are having good and big goals as they're also achieving them like you can see that the affordable home percentage is getting reduced when the time is moving on. And you can see that the luxury home percentage is also getting increased. So people are just moving towards achieving their goal by the time is progressing. So it's really a good thing to be known, right? Okay, now let's dive into some more interesting aspects like kind of tax planning and charitable giving. Both can have a significant impact on your financial health and your contribution to the society. So let's start with tax planning. Your year-end bonus is a great opportunity to reduce your tax liability while also building your wealth. So you can invest in tax-saving instruments like ELSS and other kind of equity-linked mutual funds where you will get some good deduction through ATC. Then you can consider NPS where you'll get additional 50,000 furthermore reduction. Then you can consider PPF also where it also will come under ATC and so. The next thing which is most of the people will forget is settle your outstanding tax liabilities. If you have any kind of pending taxes, use your bonus to clear them promptly. This helps you to avoid penalties and ensure compliance with tax regulations. By planning your tax strategically, you not only save money but also make your bonus work order for you. So now let's talk about giving back. Allocating a portion of your bonus for charity or donation is a meaningful way to contribute to a cause you care about. Choose a cause, right? Identify organization or initiatives like that align with your values. whether it's education or healthcare or environmental protection and so. It's important that in India, donation to registered charities will qualify for deduction under Section 80G of Income Tax Act. Similar provision exists in other countries, so be sure that you understand your contribution can benefit you financially. Charitable giving not only helps those who are in need, but also brings immense personal satisfaction and a sense of purpose, right? So again, there's some good data you can go through here. So you can see the assets are growing year by year, where the people are also now concerned about growing their wealth. You can see that the demat account opening also increased, and the SIP bookings level also got increased. So it's obviously a good thing to know that the DIAs are also increasing their flow. You can see in the last, there's an interesting thing. The retail investors' ownership in BSS 500 has got increased in a way lot than previous years. So it's really a great thing to know that people are more kind of having good exposure to the stock market and so. So apart from financial investing, you can even focus on upskilling your education. So you can go for some other certification courses and so, which will help you to improve your potential in the field what you are working. Then, rather focusing on more investment stuff, you can even gift some kind of stuff to your loved ones, and so it's a great way to improve relationship and so. Then you can start a side business or a kind of alternative business also. So in Tamil Nadu, you can see most of the people kind of work in Chennai, but they used to have some property or a land in their native places, so they can start some agriculture or small business and so. It's a good move, right? So then you can even concentrate on eco-friendly investments, like you can install some solar panels and so in your kind of house and so, so that it can have a long-term benefits in future. So now I'll hand over to Vinu to go through the kind of a process how to progress your year-end bonus.
Thank you, Ram. Hi, good morning, everyone. So, Ram has covered about what are things that you can do to utilize your bonus. So, he's covered various points like insurance payments or loan repayments, maintaining emergency funds. But if we were to put steps to each of these, so there's a place to start for each of these. So, we can just break it down into three simple points for now as to where you can start. So, first would be to assess your current financial health. So this could be as simple as putting your investments and your loans, these two things on a simple Excel. So you can start here. So this would give you clarity as to what kind of investments that you have. Because so there was a client interaction that I had recently where he felt he was investing in mutual funds, but he felt he was not doing enough and he was worried about meeting his retirement goal. So we were planning only for his retirement. But then when we started digging a little more, uh, he had left out his PF out of his retirement portfolio calculation. He had let out his gratuity out of the calculation. He had NPS running. So he actually had other financial investments which he had actually not taken into account when he was calculating this retirement plan. So it's good to just take stock of whatever assets or whatever income that you earned, and you can put it down on Excel to see how you stand today. So this will give you some sort of clarity of how much you've saved or how much you've invested for particular goals that you have. Another point that you can work towards is going to be to assess your loans. Like Ram pointed out, we'll have to close down on loans which have the highest interest rates. So if you have additional savings and if you also have some credit card loan or car loan going on the side, then it would actually make sense to shift your investments to close these loans. Housing loan is going to be the only loan that you can just let run. All your other loans, be it credit card or credit card or car loans or your personal loans, all of these will have to be closed with a priority. So once these are closed, then I think you can focus more on investments and more on your housing loan. So the first step is to put all of these things on an Excel, your current investments, your loans. The third point would be to start assessing your monthly expenses to see how your monthly cash flows are looking, because here I think a lot of us don't have clarity of where we're spending money. So money, yes, it is going out, but sometimes we may not have clarity on if this money, this expense is recurring. Is it something that has happened as a one-off expense this month? Is it going to continue once every 3 months? So it'll be good to have a split of how your expenses are looking. So this itself will give you clarity of maybe you're spending too much, or maybe you'll have to save a little more. So this will give you some sort of clarity of where you stand. So when you're assessing your monthly cash flows, you can try to see where you can cut down. So sometimes we say I did an assessment of how my cash flows were looking last month. I realized I spent a lot on food and on Swiggy, on Zomato. I realized that I spent more than what I had actually thought I am spending. So which gave me the realization that maybe I should cut down on that. So now I've stopped or I've reduced ordering on Swiggy and Zomato, which itself is helping me reduce my expenses. So this was, of course, not a necessary expense. It was a lifestyle expense. I felt I can have some good food. So I thought I was just spending and enjoying, but I realized it was going a little overboard. So assessing your monthly cash flows gives you this clarity. And one important point that you might find out from assessing your cash flows would be to see what are bad investments that you have, because sometimes there could be some bad investments that we're making month on month. A very prime example for this would be an insurance that you have. A lot of us have some sort of LIC policy, some endowment or ULIPs or money back policies attached to our names. So these are generally bad investments. We would quote them as bad investments because they don't, one, they're locked in. You don't get the money to your liquidity. Two, in most cases, you don't see them beating inflation consistently. So we need to have an investment allocated to each goal. So if it's going to be for a shorter term, then that goal has to have a particular kind of investment strategy. And for a longer term goal, it has to have an investment strategy based on that. So your investments should be based on what your actual goals are. It shouldn't be the other way of choosing a product and then mapping it to each of your goals. So assessing these cash flows will also give you a sense of what kind of investments that you're making and are these productive investments. The second point would be to prioritize based on urgency and long-term impact. So again, one thing that you can start doing here is this is going to be a little more on how you can set your goals. So a very easy way to differentiate this is to see what goals you have longer than 5 years and what goals you have lesser than 5 years. Goals in the sense, what big expense do you have that is coming up within 5 years? What expenses do you have which are coming up after 5 years? The reason I'm saying 5 years is because generally longer term investments can be parked towards equity mutual funds or stocks, which require that 5 year window. If you have any sort of expense coming up in the next 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year, you are better off parking this money either in short-term debt fund options or even your bank fixed deposits. So you'll still be able to earn a decent sum there. Of course, you might not be seeing the 10 or 12% that equity mutual funds might give, but that exactly is the risk of investing in equity mutual funds for a very short term. If you're going to consider investing in the markets in equity mutual funds for a 1 year period, then see, there's no guarantee that there will be performance. In our view, the next 1 year, there might probably be no performance from the equity markets. So when you know that there is a particular goal coming up in 1 year or 2 year, when you definitely know that this goal is coming up and I'll definitely need some money, you need to park it in an investment which can also give you that guarantee that this money will be available. It would have grown so much. In an equity investments, you don't have that guarantee. Sometimes it may be up, sometimes it may also be lesser than what you had invested. So if you have your goals from just reassess where you stand today, look at what kind of goals you have. If it is lesser than 5 years, you can park it in instruments like debt funds or fixed deposits. If it's more than 5 years, you can consider equity mutual funds or stocks. The third point would be to allocate percentages to different categories. So here there are some personal finance ratios that we can bring up, like your savings ratio or your loan rate. So this is basically a way of breaking down your monthly cash flows into just buckets. So let's say somebody is earning 100 rupees. So here we'll have to see how much they're putting towards their savings, how much they're putting towards their loan, how much they're putting towards their insurance payments, how much towards your general expenses. So it'll be good to break it down into parts to see if you are living beyond your means. So why percentages? because it gives you a very, very clear sense of how much is going where. So if we take some common financial planning ratios, savings ratio is a very common one, where saving at least 20 to 25% of your monthly income would be a good option. So if you're saving lesser than that, then you'll have to see where you can pull out a piece of it. The second one would be loan to income ratio. So this could be any sort of loan, housing or your other personal loans. It's always good to have this portion lesser than 30 or 35% of your income. So this itself would make savings and loan itself would make around 60% of your income category. The remaining can be allocated for expenses. Because if you don't have loans, yes, your savings rates are going to be higher. Maybe your expenses in that case might be higher. But always ensure that even if you have loans going, try to save some money on the side. Even if you are, maybe you have a very, very high interest loan that is going on, and you are required to divert a big portion of your income towards this loan. Yes, it is good to do that and close your loan as soon as possible, but at least have 5% of your income diverted towards towards savings in this case. So you will have to see, ultimately after your loan is done, you will also have to serve your other goals, because there are instances where we've seen somebody has a housing loan and they pay the entire amount. So they'll have maybe 50% of their income goes for expenses. The other 50% they fully use towards only these loan repayments because they want to close it out faster. So they may have a housing loan and they want to close out this housing loan very quickly. So they keep diverting the entire portion of their savings towards loans. The problem with this is they don't realize that they also have other goals that come up, because you're not, the house is one of your goals. It may not be all of your goals. So it is important to allocate some money towards your housing loan or your loan goals. And it's important to allocate some more money towards your other goals that you have in your hand. This could be retirement, this could be for your kids' education, this could be for buying a car. So it's always easier when you break your income or break your cash flows down into percentages. It'll give you a clear picture of how much money is going into what category. You can break it down into even just simple three categories. You can break it down into savings, you can break it down into loans, and then expenses. Expenses can be further broken down into multiple pieces of if this is necessary expenses or if these are lifestyle expenses. So then you can start working on loans. Can be broken down into what kind of loans they are. Savings can be broken down into, see, savings again does not necessarily mean you're fully investing. Savings can be broken down to see how much of the savings you are investing, how much are you keeping back in your bank. So that is something that you can see. That'll also give you some clarity on if you are saving to your full potential. You may be, or sorry, if you are investing to your full potential, you may be saving 20 or 25%, but you may be investing only 5% or 10%. Remaining money is only resting in the bank, which may eventually go out as expenses for some other goal that you have. So you can plan for this. So, Ram, you can move to the next slide. Yeah, so we're going to, so we've come to almost the conclusion of the presentation. So this is an initiative that we are running. So Milestones2Wealth is something that we are running, where the primary idea is to take each investor, handhold them, and take them to a crore each, at least to a crore each. And when I say crore each, this does not mean their overall net worth. This is more to do with their financial savings, because if you take a lot of people, a big portion of their assets are channeled towards real estate. Maybe for most people, it'll be more than 70-80%, because real estate is a big purchase. It's not a small purchase. So when you buy real estate, a big portion of your net worth becomes your real estate investment. Now, once you've done your real estate investments, it is also important to concentrate a little more towards having some money that is liquid, money that you can, let's say you need 20 lakhs tomorrow for whatever reason. You should be in a place where you can pull this out. So that is where financial investments become very important. So with Milestones2Wealth, the idea is very clear. The idea is to handhold you and push you a little more. So the first point is to do more. So the same point that I mentioned earlier, you may be saving sufficiently, maybe you are not investing sufficiently. So we try to assess your cash flows to see how you can save or invest more from what you have. The second point is to stay invested. So a mistake that a lot of investors who do investments on their own make is that they end up selling their investments just because it has gone up. So here it is important to assess if the investment, yes, maybe the investment has gone up, but it is important to assess if this can go up even further, or is it going to just stay here? Has it reached its full potential? Is the steam over? So these are all things that you will have to assess to say if you have to stay invested or if you will have to exit the investment. The third point is to show patience and maintain your investments. So the idea, again, similar to the last point, equity investments, if you're going into equity investments, then it's a long-term journey. So you are going to see a lot of ups and downs throughout the journey. So it is important to show some sort of moderation. It is important to show a lot of patience. More than that, it is important to also see if you've invested in the right areas. This is where you'll have to consult your financial advisor, or you'll have to do your own assessment to see if this investment is invested in the right area. Because being patient, yes, there's a lot of talk about being patient in equity markets, but you have to be patient in the right kind of investments. And the fourth point is to understand your potential. So we try to see if you are investing to your full potential, if you have if you have sufficient insurance in your hand, if you have sufficient emergency fund. These are all things that we'll assess when you start with us. The fifth point is on growing your potential. So a very famous quote that I mean, it's a quote that we keep hearing in our office is that you have to grow yourself. You are your biggest equity. So you are your own stock. So the faster you grow, the faster you're going to grow your investments, you're going to grow your savings, the faster you're going to reach your goals. So this is something you have to keep in mind. I spoke about patience earlier, but a boring market is where you have a lot of opportunities to invest. And we are going to see a boring market from here on. So over the last 4 years, we saw some great market from 2020 onwards. We saw the economy growing very well. We saw the markets also mimicking the growth, and we grew very well. But now economy is also slowing down. Consumption has slowed down a bit. So markets have also slowed down. And until we see some sort of commentary on recovery of growth, we will be seeing a slower market. But these are areas, or these are times where we can assess and see what are areas which can recover and grow from here. There could be great mutual fund areas. There could be great sectors that can recover from here and have some extremely good growth. So it's important to identify opportunities during a boring market. You have to keep doing lump sums when the market comes down. You have to keep doing your SIP. You have to increase your SIP if you feel you have more money. And this next 1, 2, 3 years is going to be important to build your portfolio. You're going to keep buying, and you may not see much returns, but the returns is when you will, the returns that you might be seeing may come maybe fourth or fifth or in the sixth year. But by then you should have built your portfolio, because investing in a growing market is not going to give you much. Investing in a bad or a negative or a flat market is when you gain most out of that. Is when you gain most out of an exciting market. Let's move to the next one. Yeah. So this is a simple slide about compounding. So this compounding is something that we all hear about. This slide speaks a little more about how much we put out of our hand and how compounding helps in the longer term. So here, if you see, it speaks about somebody that's reached 11 crore corpus over a period of time and how long they've taken to reach each crore. So if you take the first crore that this person has taken to reach, it has taken almost 8 years. And the second year has taken only half of that period. It took only 4 years for the person to reach. And from there on, if you see, every crore takes almost just 1 year to reach. So the idea here is, and if you see the table just below that graph, it shows how much a person has invested out of hand and how much the returns that has come out of this investment. During the initial years of investment, the money that you will be putting out of your hand is going to be much more than what returns you might be getting out of this investment. But the longer that you stay invested, that is when you'll start seeing that the money that you've actually put is going to shrink. The returns that you keep making out of this is going to be much, much larger. So that is the reason you're starting to see that the portfolio starts growing at 1 crore every year. You may not be contributing even 20 lakhs every year from there, but your portfolio still starts growing 1 crore every year because the investment itself is compounding on its own. So it's important to stay invested for the longer term. So when you're coming into equity, it's going to be a painful journey. It's going to be lots of ups and downs. So it's good to choose a good partner, a good financial partner who's going to tell you that this is a good place to stay invested. This is a good time to be walking out of an investment. This is a new opportunity that we've identified. So these are things that you'll have to keep doing within a portfolio. But beyond all, the behavior of staying invested, being consistent in spite of not seeing returns, is a very, very important behavior to maintain. So we've come to the end of the presentation. We're happy to take questions. So the comment box is open, and there's also a Q&A box. So if you have particular questions, we're happy to take them. Alternatively, you can, if you would like to assess your financial health, if you'd like to know if you're saving enough, if you're having sufficient insurance, all of these, you can get in touch with us. Our email ID, our phone number is mentioned on the screen. If you get in touch with us, our representative will be able to help you see if you have sufficient insurance or not, or if you're doing sufficient investments or not. So these are things that we can look at, or how you can manage your loans a little better. So you can get in touch with Milestones to Wealth to get a guidance on all of these. So we'll leave the chat box open for a minute to see if there are any questions that you guys have. Somebody has asked if investing in digital gold is worth it. Okay, so for the sake of asset allocation, I would say yes. So digital gold could mean buying the bullion, or a very, very common way of investing in digital gold is going to be gold ETFs or gold mutual funds. So gold, you could look at it in two ways. One, maybe you're saving gold for maybe for marriage, or maybe to gift it to somebody. So if you feel having physical gold, if you feel jewelry is not something that you might eventually consume, if you feel maybe, see, in this generation, we see that a lot of youngsters are not wearing gold jewelry. So if you feel it is not going to be worn as jewelry and consumed, then gold ETFs or gold mutual funds, which is digital gold, is a very good way of saving this money. Beyond saving for just this goal, let's say you're not saving for marriage. If you're asking from an investment standpoint, yes, it is still a good investment to make and have as part of your portfolio, because historically we've always seen that maintaining a combination of equity and gold in a portfolio has always worked well, because when equity markets do well, or when equity markets become volatile, that's when gold starts to do well. So we've seen this even in the last few years, where gold has actually done extremely well in comparison to equity itself. Now, even when the markets are becoming volatile, gold has held its stance. It's not fallen as much as the rest of the market. So in both contexts, yes, digital gold is going to be a good way to invest. Okay. I guess there are no questions. So uh, we'll be closing. If there are any questions, you can feel free to drop us a message. Our email is there. You can directly call us and speak to us as well. We're happy to guide you on whatever questions that you have.
Thank you for joining this webinar. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for joining us today. Take care. See you.